Hello everyone, I'm here in sunny Orlando, Florida, representing UConn for UC Sports. To my left is the Amway Center, home of the 2016 American Athletic Conference Tournament. It is sure to be an exciting tournament for UConn. Quarterfinals begin tomorrow. They will play Cincinnati. If they end up winning that game, they will move on to the semifinals, followed by the championship round on Sunday at 3:15. UConn is more eager than ever to get a championship game. They made it to the AAC championship game and lost both consecutive rounds. The last time they won a conference title was when they were in the Big East. UConn is coming in to this tournament 21-10. Regular season records do not matter though. This tournament is anyone's games for the taking. It is sure to be exciting, but most importantly, intense for all teams, all college basketball fans, all coaches. What more can I say? The UConn Huskies squad just took on Cincinnati, who was ranked number 4 in the conference, and beat them 104-97. It was an incredible game. I know all Huskies fans will agree with me. Daniel Hamilton led the team with 31 points today. We had 6 players score in double figures. It was one heck of a game down here at the Amway Center in Orlando. As soon as the game started, you would think it would be nothing but UConn this half. Bryma and Nolan had the first 2 buckets to take the 4-0 lead, but that ended very quickly. UConn began struggling offensively. Shooting percentage was low. There were some air balls, but most importantly, fouls. UConn just couldn't contain Cincinnati down low, but that all changed the second half. Firing on all cylinders. They began shooting the ball well. They weren't fouling out as much, and it ended up going into overtime at the end of the second half. But not just one overtime, 4 overtimes. With 32 points, Daniel Hamilton led the team in scoring for the 7th game this season. He also had a team-high 12 rebounds and 8 assists. UConn had 6 players score in double figures: Gibbs, Hamilton, Miller, Purvis, Bryma, and Adams. Coach Ollie said at the end of the game his team clearly has heart right now, and recovery is a big factor at the right moments. Let's check it out.
And that's the great thing about us. We're going to recover. That's what we talk about every day in practice. That's what we talk about every day in film session. And these guys did it.
Tomorrow, the Huskies will take on number 1 Temple at 3 p.m. It is sure to be a show. I'm Justin Ayer reporting from UC Sports. Hard to believe I'm standing here right on this court as the UConn men's basketball squad just defeated the number 1 conference-ranked Temple Owls 77-62 in the semifinals of the American Athletic Conference Tournament. Similar to yesterday, UConn opened up the first points of the game by the help of Daniel Hamilton with 2. But then UConn went scoreless for a good 4 minutes. Temple's defense began giving them a run for their money. The defensive pressure was just too much for them. UConn couldn't make any shots. They were getting blocked, but that ended very quickly. UConn took the game in their own hands around the 14-minute mark. Their shooting picked up. Hamilton finished this half with 9 points and 7 rebounds. Jalen Adams had 7 points with 4 assists. Sean Miller went for 6 points, 4 rebounds. At one point, UConn even had a 56% shooting percentage. Jalen Bond and Josh Brown from Temple were the Huskies' biggest threats this half with 16 points combined. If there was anything the Huskies needed to work on, it would be their fouls. The Huskies drew 9 fouls compared to Temple's 5. Just like the first half, the Huskies had this game in their grasp. Daniel Hamilton comes out around the 14-minute mark of the second half and drops 2 back-to-back shots, one being a 2, the other a 3. The UConn chant can be heard for miles. After that, the Huskies seemed to have lost their offensive flow for a little bit. Midway through the half, they weren't rebounding as well, and fouls were still a prominent issue for the squad. But just like the first half, that drought did not last for long. The Huskies came back, fired up. Sean Miller comes back with a huge dunk to ignite the crowd at the 10-minute mark, then another dunk at the 7.5-minute mark. Temple had 3 major fouls at the end, which clearly hurt them. UConn was at the foul line 3 times in the last 2 minutes of play. Coach Ollie said the reason why UConn dominates in March is all due to former UConn men's basketball coach Jim Calhoun.
Starts with Coach Calhoun and ends with Coach Calhoun. He's just a great man. He instilled that value into us, and he always told us to play our best basketball in March. And it's ups and downs, but throughout the season he makes us tougher. And he's always done that. He's breathed that into me, And I just want to be playing our best basketball now. And like I say, I don't get too discouraged over the bad days. You know, bad days are days of experience, and good days bring happiness. So I don't really get down. You know, it's momentarily I get down, but I'm always positive because I know these days is going to build us if we just stay together. And I think everybody is witnessing that, but we still got one more game left.
We had to keep fighting. We wanted this game. I think everybody on the team wanted this game as much as Coach Ollie did. So we just fought together, got stops, and was scoring the ball.
We will see you all tomorrow as UConn takes on Memphis in the AAC championship round. The winner of that game will get an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. I'm Justin Ayer with UC Sports. And there you have it, everyone. The UConn men's basketball squad is officially the 2016 American Athletic Conference champions. No one believed us. UConn proved them wrong. Take a look at this. The crowd is going crazy. UConn, welcome to March Madness. The first half was a UConn domination all the way through, and with a solid 32-19 lead at the half, you would think nothing other. Even the UConn bench had some key contributions this half, a total team effort, no doubt. The AAC conference superstar Daniel Hamilton dropped 7 points and 6 rebounds this half. Rodney Purvis was also on fire for a change. He had 5 total points, 3 rebounds, one of which being a clutch three-pointer with just under 13 minutes. UConn still had themselves in some foul trouble this half. They ended the half with 11 fouls compared to Memphis's 8. But really, this half was UConn's game all the way through. Their offense was firing on all cylinders. Players who you normally wouldn't see make shots made them, including Kenton Facey for 4. Memphis's offense just couldn't keep up with these Huskies. Memphis' best player, Dedrick Lawson, dropped 11 this half, who was clearly the Huskies' biggest threat. Shaq Goodwin only had 2 buckets, surprisingly. UConn figured out very quickly if they remained consistent, this game would be theirs for the taking. By the time the second half started, UConn clearly looked like a championship winner. Sean Miller opens up with a huge slam dunk, followed by a Miller three-pointer. Sean had quite the opening, that is for sure for the Huskies. Fouls were still a key issue for the Blue Men. At one point, Nolan, Bryma, and Enoch each had 4 fouls each. This is when Memphis went on a 10-0 run. But that did not last long because Memphis began having the same foul trouble. Whistles were blown consistently. UConn took advantage of this, making many important shots and providing defensive pressure that was too much for the Tigers to handle. It was an all-around-the-roster UConn win for sure. Miller finished with 13 points. Hamilton had 12. Purvis had 12. Even Omar Calhoun had 10. And before you knew it, UConn were the conference champions. Daniel Hamilton was selected as the tournament's most outstanding player right before the Huskies began cutting down the net for the first time ever as American Athletic Conference champions. UConn defeated Memphis 72-58. Just an all-around great performance by the Huskies. Offensively and defensively, they were firing on all cylinders. This tournament is definitely one for the books. I know all Huskies fans will agree with me, whether it be the 70-foot buzzer beater by Jalen Adams to put the Cincinnati game in quadruple overtime, the back-to-back dunks yesterday versus Temple, or today's stellar defensive pressure. This tournament was one of the greatest for the UConn Husky squad.
You know, I haven't won a conference championship yet in my tenure as a head coach. Win the first one with this group with all the ups and downs this season. It really makes it all worthwhile. So I'm really happy for our university. I'm really happy for our new AD and president. And, you know, I'm really so happy for these guys, these players, because, you know, they've been scrutinized a lot. And for them to come together like they did and play so hard for these 3 games and, you know, and going 4 overtimes, it just really shows our toughness, our resiliency, and, you know, what UConn is made about.
With the NCAA tournament on the rise, CBS just announced today is Selection Sunday that UConn will be the number 9 seed facing off against number 8 Colorado in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So that is where their focus will be next.
You know, Colorado, we got to go in there and we got to take care of business, and we got to just take it one game at a time and one day at a time and prepare right, make sure we get a lot of fluids because we played a lot of minutes, and just continue to make sure we're ready to play.
I am standing here with Alon DiCarlo, sports writer for the Daily Campus, UConn's daily newspaper. I'm here to talk about your thoughts and opinions on the game. So really, what were the key contributions for the Huskies to win this tournament?
A lot of depth. Everyone played their role in this tournament, but it really came down to Daniel Hamilton's performance. All season long, the last 2 years, Hamilton's been the best player on the team. He can do everything. He scores, passes, rebounds, plays great defense when he wants to. It's something Kevin Ollie consistently rides him about. But in this tournament, he really brought his A game. He was able to make a lot of tough shots that he wasn't making earlier in the season. And once he got confident and comfortable in his jump shot, that allowed him to start attacking basket more freely, and that just opens up the rest of the UConn offense.
Now, why do you think Daniel Hamilton is so inconsistent throughout the regular season, but here he comes turning out to be the tournament's best player? How do we talk about something like this?
I think that's just sports. His jump shot's always been streaky. When he gets into a groove, he'll make a few. He'll shoot like 7 of 13, 7 of 10. Then he'll have other nights where he'll go 2 of 11, and I think that's just sports. But even when his jumper's not falling, he'll attack the basket, he'll pass, he'll initiate the offense, and he's always been an excellent rebounder for his position. So he always finds ways to contribute. Just this weekend, everything clicked.
How do you feel? It just got announced, Selection Sunday. UConn will be facing Colorado, number 8. How do you feel? How do you think that they're going to win?
I think that's a good matchup for UConn. Even though I haven't really watched that much of Colorado, I know this UConn team is peaking, and they have a lot of talent on this roster. So it's going to be a great matchup. 8-9 is always balanced. So I think UConn fans should feel confident in their team that they're going to put in a great effort. I think they're playing Thursday, so it should be a good one.
Joe Lunardi from ESPN put UConn in the bottom 4. What do you have to say to him?
I think Joe Lunardi needs to watch the games. UConn was not one of the 4 worst teams in this tournament, and I think that is just a poor job of ranking.
And last but not least, the last question, the 70-foot buzzer beater that happened right here. Do you think that's UConn's best shot in history? If not, what is UConn's best shot in history?
It's certainly the best shot I've ever seen in UConn history, but I'm still partial to the Kemba Walker shot. The Kemba shot against Pitt in 2011 is iconic, not just for UConn fans, but for sports fans everywhere. I've never seen a cleaner step back, and just when the ball's just arcing through the air, you can just, it's just perfect. And the reason that shot's so special is they went on to win the national championship. Is this team capable of that? We'll see.
Reporting from the American Athletic Conference Championship in Orlando at the Amway Center, I'm Justin Ayer, and this is UC Sports.